party people. It's geared up time. This is our weekly live broadcast. We talk about all things gear related. Caitlin double checks the audio because if you were here 30 minutes ago, you know we were having some audio problems. But we talk about gear. We do breakdowns. We kind of do lighting setups. We learn together, take your questions, and try to have as much fun as we can possibly have when things are good and they're bad. Today, it's all about this bad boy right here, the A10. We're going to dive into it. What you can expect when you open up the box, some things you should know about how to control it, some misconceptions. And yeah, we're going to talk about this stuff right now. I'm going to hide this one down here because I want it to be what it looks like when you take it out of the box. So I'm sure Caitlin will be bringing that up any moment now. The magic of television. Here you go. When you take your A10 out of the box, it's going to look like this. It's going to come in a nice snazzy case to keep it protected when you are rolling around. And it's a nice little bag. On the back of the bag, you'll find this table adapter, table stand adapter that allows you to put your A10 there, set it on a table if you need, but the bottom of it also has a 1/4-20 receptacle. So you could screw this to the top of a light stand or a tripod, or you could screw it into the top of all kinds of like little travel tripods and stuff like that. Really little handy thing to have, but it's right here on the back of your A10 case. Cool. To get into your, also you have little loops here too that you can hang things from, or put like a carabiner on there and hang this from something else too, if that's how you want to roll around with it. Then we open that bad boy up. The first thing you're going to see is your A10, but before we go into the A10 itself, we want to look under this little flap right here. Under the flap, you're going to find my Apple Watch asking me to unlock something. You're going to find the dome diffuser. This is a pretty handy little light shaping tool that comes with your A10. The one thing I didn't grab, and I'll grab one in just a second. I'll show you now that I'm thinking about it. Actually, maybe Caitlin can grab it while things are happening. The V-flats might be blocking you, but there should be a little sachet, if you will, that has bounce card in it. If I have to, I'll go grab it. But this is the dome diffuser that comes with the unit. Really, really nice for kind of evening out the light a little bit more if you feel like you need that. But the A10 looks nice even without it. So I'm going to stuff back.
This one? I don't see it.
No, I'll go grab it here in just a second. It's not a problem. So inside of the case itself, let's take out the A10. Cool. So we'll set the case to the side. To distinguish, I mean, you should know, hopefully know what version of the A10 you bought for yourself, but if you're borrowing an A10 or you have something's going on, you're trying to figure out which A10 is correct. If you look at the shoe right here, I don't know if you can really see it. Can you see that letter?
Blurred.
A little blurred? Yeah. Okay. We'll roll with it. It's a little blurred. Yeah. But there's a letter right there that says C. This is a Canon unit. You could also flip open the battery, which is the next thing we're going to talk about too. And you can see right here, this says Profoto A10 for Canon. So that's there, obviously, so you can tell what it is. But if you wanted to quickly glance, you could look at the shoe. There'll be a C, an N, an F, an S, and...
We see it now. We got it.
Oh, you got it now? Cool. So there you can see the C now. So there will be a letter there for the type of camera that you're using it on. Again, the battery clips in right here. So to unclip the battery, you just tap the little button at the top, clip the battery back in, and you're rocking and rolling. Really, really easy stuff. Changing the battery on the fly is insanely simple with this bad boy. You have a laser right here for your autofocusing system. Now, if you have a mirrorless camera, they don't like traditional infrared and laser autofocus systems, autofocus assist systems. So what'll happen is the mirrorless cameras will light up the modeling light of the A10, and we'll get to that here in just a second, to give you some light for an assistance. So battery right there at the front. On the side, you have a USB port for firmware updates if you need to update this thing with your computer, or if you're updating it with your, if you're updating it with Bluetooth with the Profoto app and something happens, like maybe someone calls you in the middle of the update and the update fails, you can recover the flash by plugging into your computer and doing the firmware update that way. And then you can go to the support page. There's videos with my silly face walking you through the whole process if you need that. On the other side of the unit is your TTL and manual switch. This switch only works when the flash is on top of your camera. If this flash is not on top of your camera, if you're using a Connect or a Connect Pro or whatever trigger, or this one's off camera and you're using another A10, this TTL manual switch doesn't do anything. You can flick it all day long. If it's not sitting on top of your camera, it does not change whether that flash is in TTL mode or manual mode. So something to keep in mind. In the Profoto world, the thing that's on top of a camera's hot shoe, that's the boss. So if it's on top of the camera's hot shoe and you set it to TTL or manual, now everything that is compatible is in TTL or manual mode. So something to keep in mind. That switch means nothing unless this is on top of the camera. All right, now that I've beat that horse, let's go to the front. So the front of the flash, a really nice round head. When we were making an on-camera flash, we were like, you know what? We need it to have the same look and feel as using one of the Profoto studio strobes. That was the whole idea behind this. That's why we started making sure that we put a round head on top of this thing. We added in 2 modeling lights that allow you to get an idea of what the light's doing as the flash head zooms. So inside this flash head, like most on-camera flashes, there's a motor system to widen the beam or tighten up the beam, depending on whether or not you're shooting wide or you're shooting relatively tight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this thing operates in like the coverage range is like a 24 to 105. So if you go wider than 24, you're going to get a little bit of vignetting around the sides. And then it doesn't do the thing where it jams like on other speed lights where it'll jam it up to like 200 millimeters. And you just get like this really ugly but really powerful light beam. It doesn't do that. So it kind of keeps itself into a nice beam angle. So the quality of light's really nice. So you can also, this on the front is where you would attach your magnetic light shaping tools. So you just clip it into place like that, and your light shaping tool is there. And then you just take that off. You can decide that you want to, throw your gel. You can gel it, and then you can put your dome on there if you need to do something like that. So they're stackable, which is really nice. And they're really, really strong magnets. I know some of the, we put out a questionnaire yesterday asking, what would you like to see with the A10, or what would you like to ask about the A10? Some people wanted some stronger magnets on things like the bounce card, and I'll take that up to the higher ups so that can be addressed. So, but again, that's your magnetic mount there. The magnets, just for the record, are in the light shaping tool. They're not on the flash. The flash just has a metal ring that the magnets are attracted to. Another question that popped up on Instagram when we asked, what were your questions, is what is the lifespan of the magnets? A lot of magnets can last hundreds of years. It depends on how well you take care of it, if it's around anything that can demagnetize it, but it should last for quite a long time. Do I have an exact number of days on it? I don't, but they should hang in there really good. As long as the magnets aren't damaged, or you're not putting around something that could demagnetize them, or there's no, electronic fields that can mess with that kind of stuff. So something to keep in mind. Again, so there's your flash head with the zoom motor on the inside. You have your magnetic ring for mounting your stuff, and your 2 modeling lights that will vary the beam angle, so you have a better idea of, and they blend too, so you have a better idea of kind of what that light looks like coming out of your flash. Cool. Now that we've talked about the outsides, let's dive into the innards of the A10. So to power up the A10, you hold down this button right here until the wheel turns on, then you spin the wheel to unlock it. That's literally there to make sure you don't accidentally turn your flash on the way to a shoot, and you get there and your battery's dead. That would be a bummer, right? So that's what that locking system's for. Also, to lock things, you could hold down the center button, and you can see that there's a lock there too. So if you have kind of some stuff set up and you don't want people messing with it, you can lock it into place and you're good to go. And then you just hold that button down again, spin the wheel to unlock, and you're rocking and rolling. This same power button is your flash test button. So if you press it, the light's gonna flash. Cool, you can see that going off, rock and roll. So that's your flash test button. And if you want to power it back off, you just hold the button down again and it powers the unit off. All one button, really, really simple. Let's power it back on. Right here on the front is your modeling light to power it on and off. So you can see that turned on there. Here, let's point this up. It might be too bright for you to actually see this, but zooming this flash head will actually change that modeling light. You can see that it is changing. Very cool stuff. So just zooming the flash head, like I was saying, shows that shows you how that modeling light beam changes. So you have your modeling light there. You also have this graphic representation here showing you that this is what, and should I zoom in on this bad boy? Should we get tighter on the screen? I think
you can see
Oh, you can?
Fine.
Okay. Okay. I was just thinking that it might be nice to see it real good. There we go. I like that. This right here is your beam angle. So you can see as I'm changing the beam angle, that pattern is widening. So that kind of shows you just with a graphical representation of what that light beam is looking like. So really good stuff here. Right now, air is turned off, which means this is not receiving or sending any type of air signal. So if you were trying to trigger it with another A10 or a Profoto remote of any type, it's not going to trigger. It's not looking, essentially the radio is just off on the unit. Subsequently, it's also not sending signal to anything. So if you have lights around and you want to trigger them, it's not going to do that right now. And we'll get to all that stuff here in just a second. Then you have your Bluetooth. Bluetooth is currently turned on this. This will give me control over the innards of the flash itself. Also gives me access to firmware updates. And if you have an iPhone, you can download the Profoto camera app and you can actually take photos with the flash of the A10 or any of the other Bluetooth lights. The reason it's kind of iPhone only is their software is pretty universal when it comes to a lot of their stuff. So there's not really a lot of things to update. Whereas in the world of Android, there's so many phones and they change so quickly that it's kind of hard to keep up with them. So I think in the interim, we're kind of, when it comes to the Profoto camera side of it, iPhone only, but with Profoto Control, you have Android and iPhone. So in case that question comes up, that's what's going on. Then you have your battery signal right here, kind of lets you know how much juice you have left on your batteries. Really nice thing to have that there. And then let's dive in. So to access the menu of the unit, you just simply tap the button. We did this really cool thing called using words to let you know what's on the inside of this unit. So you can actually just read what's going on and understand what your flash is doing. I know a lot of people have decided to stop using custom things and start using words as well, but we were really, really big on using words. So we went that route. But in here, you have all your controls, your continuous lights, your zooms, all of that stuff, your ready signals, and then all the way down to the about section so you can learn the innards of the flash. I'm pretty sure I'm going to update the flash, the firmware on this thing in a minute. So we might even do that live. So let's turn on air so we can talk about that because we really need to dive into how do you control other lights on the system from the A10. So let's go into air. So in here, you can see you have off, on, and transmit only. What the transmit only is going to do if we kick it on, it's going to only send the air signal. So if this is the camera on top, or this is the flash on top of your camera, and you have a couple of flashes around, say you're a wedding photographer and you're shooting the reception, right? You have some flashes around to kind of give some extra fill or something like that, or maybe you just want some rim lights as you're kind of walking around. You have a second shooter and they're also using those lights, just so you have consistency in your images. By flipping both of your on-camera A10s to transmit only, you don't have to worry about the second shooter firing the flash of your camera and vice versa. So that literally only sends the air signal, it does not receive it. So if that's a situation you find yourself in, two people using A10s and you don't want to trigger each other, but you both want to use the external lights, set it to transmit only, and that'll fix that for you. For this, I'm going to go to on. Oh, and just for the record too, so you know when you're in transmit only, when we go back out here, it says 1A, so it lets you know the channel and the group this flash is on, but underneath it, it says transmit only. So you know that that's what's going on there. So if it doesn't say that, but it has that 1A, you know that air is on, but this flash can still receive an air signal. So if someone else has a trigger of some sort, they can still fire the flash on top of your camera.
Can you turn on the camera again?
Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't plug it in, so it's probably going to go to sleep a couple times. We'll see. Hopefully the battery's not dying on it. Let's see. Yeah, we got a dead battery. Hang tight with me for just 1 second. Let's plug this bad boy in. I didn't think about this earlier. Usually my overhead cam, or this camera is over here, and so.
Of any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, in the interim, please let me know. Please let me know. I'm just going to.
I love using the A10 with the 7-1 and the 135 jam.
Yeah, it's the A1, the A1, the A1X, and the A10 are brilliant little flashes. They the idea behind when we were making them is we were trying to think about what a lot of the on-camera, what a lot of the flashes of the on-cameras struggle with. I'm going to grab that bounce card too while I'm over here just to make life easy as well. But we were trying to think to ourselves, you know, what do a lot of things struggle with when it comes to on-camera flashes? And we are trying to address that. So here we go. Here's those bounce cards.
The Profoto Control app integration with the A10 from a iPhone is sick.
Yeah, no, it's just being able to control your light from a phone is awesome. Honestly, more so than anything, the firmware updates are a lifesaver. So that's a big deal there. We're just gonna get juiced up. I should have realized I didn't put this.
Hello from Venezuela, from Portugal.
What's up, my friends?
Rico.
What's up, my friends? Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Love to have you here.
Thank you for hanging with us.
Now I am going to have to double check and make sure that, because I definitely just knocked my camera out of alignment, but that's okay. That's all fun and dandy.
Part of the fun.
Yep. Just want to make sure.
Is there a guide number for the A10?
I don't know what the guide number is, because so to make it make sense with the rest of our stuff, we based off of watt seconds. I think on the technical specs, it's probably there. Sorry, I just want to double check.
We also make sure that that is tight. I'm getting anxiety.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a little shifty for a second.
we don't like that.
Yeah, just make sure we're good there. This is fun, guys. You know, sometimes you have some audio issues, sometimes you have some camera issues. It's all good. We're live.
Live.
It makes live.
Right.
The live is alive. So cool. I have the bounce card, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We'll come back to the bounce card. So fire that back up. It just went to sleep on us, which is it's a setting that you can turn off if you don't want that. So yes. Now, let's talk about the actual power structure of the A10. It's exactly like the power structure for the rest of our lights, starting at the D1 forward. So from anything that we made 2008, like brand new manufacturer 2008 and forward, this is how the power scale works. Actually, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, the Pro 8 and the D4 work like this too. So actually a little bit older than that. We work on something called relative f-stops. So 10 is full power. A lot of people go to turn the light down to half power and they're like, oh, we'll just go to 5. Half of 10 is 5. So that's half power. That is not half power. That is 1/32 power. So if we know anything about stops, if we go down 1 stop, we've cut the power in half. So if we go down 1 stop, we've cut the power in half. So now we're at half power. If we want to go up 1 stop, we've doubled the power. That's how that works. So that's how the power structure works. And then the nice thing is you have all these tenths of a stop in between, so you can really kind of dial that light in. It's nice. It's a nice little step. And then you can turn this bad boy all the way down to 0.1. So if you need just to kiss just a touch of light into your shot, you've got 0.1. And it's really, really awesome. You know what I'm realizing? And I think maybe I have it on my other one. Oh, you know what? Let's do this really fast because we need to do it, because this A10 is not up to date. So I'm going to show you really fast how to update this thing. And then I'm going to grab my other A10 while it's doing it. So we can let that update live on camera. And that'll be fun. Let's go to A10. Cool. So we're connected to A10.
Can you turn the power up and down so much faster? Oh, you can turn the power up and so much faster with the app.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can kind of just swipe over with the app, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I'm out of date on my firmware. So let's
Would you
just
like
double
to
check.
slide that so that they can see what you're doing on your phone?
Yeah, they can slide it. It's it could be. It's not. Let's see. A10 might be a little mad here. I actually need to do something really fast, and then I'm just going to grab my other A10 that I know is updated, and we'll continue from there while this is doing its thing. I just have to do this. Go into the settings, and there we go.
If using the light for off-site events and OCF only, why not just use the A2 as the OCF flash unit?
Yeah, no, you can use that. If it's off camera, I'm my firmware thing's not reading the thing, so let me grab my other one. No, you're totally right. I'm not talking about it from the perspective of why not use an A10 or a B20 or a B30 off camera for that situation. It's mostly for just double check in. What am I? Oh, wow. This is not my A10 that's updated either. Wow, Christopher.
Does the Profoto A10 pair with other brands?
As far as what? Expand on what you're saying there, and let me answer.
Etc.
Explain to me what it is that you're trying to do, because I'm not 100% sure what you're trying to do. As far as if you're talking about syncing it, no. All of our lights have different protocols. So they're not the exact same. This is my Fuji one. It's another Canon. I have A10s out the wazoo, and I thought
Really do.
I have A10s out the wazoo, guys. I'm not Seth Miranda. Seth Miranda has A10s out the wazoo, but I'm pretty good. This is my updated Fuji one right here. Here we go.
Would you like me to go back to the screen?
Yeah, I want to answer the question that was asked just a second ago about why would you use A10s off camera? One, people like the A10s or the A10s off camera. And you're talking about in reference to setting your flash to transmit only is my guess. So the reason that you'd want transmit only doesn't necessarily have to do with the stuff that's off camera. So you could have B20s, B30s, A2s, Pro 11s off camera. I'm talking specifically if Kate and I were shooting a wedding together. She's the first shooter, I'm her second shooter. And we're both, I was trying to make it about you and not me on this one. And we both have A10s on top of our camera. And we want the, whatever flash it is that's Profoto related off camera to fire. And so we have consistent looks. But what can happen is if you're not in transmit only, if I squeeze the trigger, I would fire her flash also, which is going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to give me light from a direction that I didn't necessarily want. And two, it's going to potentially mess up her recycle speed for her shot. So I could press the button and she could be like a half a press behind me, and now her flash doesn't go off. So by setting it to transmit only on the A10s on the camera, we don't have to worry about triggering each other's flashes while still triggering whatever Profoto flashes we're using, A2s, B20s, B30s, whatever you have off camera. So that's what the transmit only is for. It's really just for the two people who have A10s on top of their camera. So hopefully that cleared that up.
Yeah, would this be a related question? When I combine an A10 with a B10, the A10 would go cooler sometimes. Does it depend on the flash power? Lower power, more stable color temperature?
I don't think there's a freeze mode. Let's see. Are you sure it's so the one thing that I would tell you to check is that one of your B10's not in freeze mode. Again, you're saying it's the A10 that's going cooler. Are you running auto white balance is my first question. Let me know if you're running auto white balance. If you are running auto white balance, turn that off and just set your white balance. The lights, they're not dead on as far as color temperature, and Profoto lights aren't 5,600 degrees, just for the record. Like a lot of people think that a Profoto flash is a 5,600 degree flash. They're more like 6,100. That's kind of the magic in the Profoto look, is the light's a little higher than 5,600. It's so that's just something to think about. It's in that 6,100 range on flash. So you might just need to set your white balance and see if that fixes whatever issue that you're having, or double check your B10. Also make sure it's not in freeze mode. Usually lights that are in freeze mode can go a little bluer. So something to keep in mind. Or here's a crazy thought. If you find that your A10 is going...
That might be the cause. Auto white balance.
Yeah, auto white balance. It's usually auto white balance. But I don't know why I'm thinking about this. This could be a funky workaround. If you're finding that your A10's bluer than your B10, you could, in theory, put your B10 into freeze mode, and it will cool that flash down a little bit, not too much, a little bit, and that might even those out. Something to think about, just off the top of my head. So now let's talk about, hang on a second, let's go into air. So there's our transmit only again. So now with the updated version, one of the things that you're gonna see, let's go to this air control mode. So in air control mode, you have, just like you have with the Kinect and the Kinect Pro, you have Air 1 and Air 2. What Air 1 is made for is your older D1s, Pro 8s, Pro 10s, things that can't send the power signal back to the flash. Air 1 is there so you can control the power of those things. It will look like the traditional control system on the A10. So you can see that there's nothing here. I can click A and start powering up and powering down. Click B, start powering up and powering down, and it just doesn't. This is on channel B. That's why those numbers, or group B. That's why those numbers are changing with it. So it just changes to how much you changed it, and then it zeroes itself back out the traditional way that Air 1's always worked. Now, if you go into Air Control Mode 2, and this is with the newer firmware updates, Air Control Mode 2 is now going to show you your actual power levels. So in order to control your power levels of your A10, you simply press the button here, and you turn the power up and down to what it is that you want. So this is set to 9.5, so if I hit B and change this down here, because you can see up here it's 1B, and down here this is B, so that's why it's controlling this. You can see that we're set to those same numbers. You can see that 6.6 is reading 6.6 here, and then I can turn on C right there. Same thing, control the power. Just like on most other things too, if I wanted to turn Group A off, I can hold this power button down, and now Group A is turned off. If I have Group A selected and I hit the modeling light button, I got to turn it back on first, and I hit the modeling light button, now everything that's on Group A, the modeling light's on, and you can see by this little dot that's next to the A group logo. So whatever's selected here, you are controlling now with the dial or the modeling lamp, or you're holding this down and turning that flash head off. I actually think you can do this too, where you hold down the modeling light button. Yeah. So a quick little trick on the A series lights. If you want to just use the unit as a air remote, you don't want the flash to fire at all, you can just hold the modeling light button down for a second, and it turns the flash head off. Very, very cool. So it's really, really fast to kind of flip through that. Then you can do the same thing by go to Group A. You can hold down that modeling light button there and turn the flash head off, or you can just hold down the Group A button and turn that flash head off. So really, really easy stuff to access there. You also now have access with the firmware updates to groups D, E, and F. So just like with the Connect Pro, you have access to control all 6 channels. Something to keep in mind when it comes to TTL. Groups A, B, and C are TTL and manual. Groups D, E, and F are manual only. So if you have a scenario where you need some lights to never change, let's go back to the scenario where we're at a wedding. Why am I blanking on the name of it? After the wedding, what do you do?
Reception.
Reception. Wow. Couldn't pull that one out.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So let's say you're back at the reception. Again, you have your whatever flash A2s, B20s, B30s set up in the background. You don't want them to change, but you're walking around and you're getting closer to people, you're getting further away from people, and you need the flash on top of your camera to be in TTL mode. Simple. Set those background lights or whatever external lights you don't need to change to either group D, E, or F. On the A10, you can control those now, so you can easily just go over to D and F, power them up, and click that, power them up and power them down. And then you could be on 1A, your second shooter could be on 1B, and you're both in TTL mode as you're moving around. You're in transmit only, you're not firing each other's flashes, but you're able to move and the light change as you're moving and your subjects are moving, but your background lights stay the exact same. So groups D, E, and F, manual only. Cool stuff there. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've forgotten so far. I don't think so. So inside the menu, again, is all the stuff that you'd want to know, your air groups, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And this tells you right here, no TT. Oh, D has TTL now. That's new for this one. I think on the Connect Pro, it's still only A, B, C. So D now has TTL on this thing. That's a very cool thing though. So E and F on this is only manual. Your channels now, you have all 100 that our air system has. So if you're having any signal interference, you can go through there and change out one of the channels. Or, if you don't want to share air channels with somebody, you can go in there and pick a different one. You have your control mode. We talked about the Air 1 and Air 2. This lets you toggle air on and off or put it in transmit only mode. Good to know. Your Bluetooth is just going to let you turn your Bluetooth on and off so you can connect it to the Profoto control app. The head on and off, you can turn the flash head off or on inside the menu if you just want to use it as a transmitter or not. And here you have your different sync settings, first curtain, second curtain, and auto FP if you need that for yours. I'm a Fuji guy, so I have to set mine to auto FP. But Sony's, Nikon's, Canon's, you just ramp the speed up and you're ready to rock and roll. I can leave this on auto FP all the time and then I can do the ramping with my Fuji. But if I'm in first curtain and I go above my sync speed, I'll get the black bar. I have to go in here and set that. So something to remember if you're a Fuji shooter. Zoom. Inside the zoom setting, you can set it to automatic. That will follow along with your flash, with your camera lens. So whatever you're zooming with your camera lens. Manual, again, you can just override it by spinning this front ring. And then you have different preset beam angles if you need. So you can set that like that, set it back to auto mode if I want to. And then general is just gonna come in here. That's gonna set your continuous light to maximum, minimum, proportional, flicker free. If you wanted to roll a little bit of video using that light, you could. Autofocus assist. On, auto, and off. Auto just means it's going to trigger with the half press of your light. On just means that the right now it's in it turns on my modeling light because that's what I would be using. I'm pretty sure I have mine set to it. Yeah, right here.
I have a modeling light question here. Does the modeling light turn off when taking a photo? If not, does it affect the exposure?
So it depends on what you have set to. So right now I have mine set to LED. I can flip it over to laser. And now, as you can see, I don't know if you can actually see the laser.
Well, you could when you put it down low.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
So you can see, so there's the laser. Right now it's set to on, so it's always going to be on. So yes, this can affect your image depending on the speed of your shutter and stuff like that. So you would want to go in here and make sure that it's set to automatic. And what automatic is going to do, you can see that the laser is now off. So what automatic will do is on half press of your trigger, it will broadcast whatever, whether it be LED or laser, to your camera and broadcast that out so you can catch your autofocus. So when you're a user of mirrorless cameras, laser, not going to work for you. You need to set it to LED. And then again, you can leave it in auto mode. Like I said, I turned it on. You can see that it turns itself on all the time. But if it's in auto mode, it's just waiting for that half press. Ready signal literally is just, you go in here, you can have it make a sound. So if in sound mode, I can hit this. Oh yeah, the head's off. Let's fix that. Hear the beep? That right there is just an audible sound to let you know you're recycled. You can go back in here, turn that off, especially if you're trying to be quiet. Let's go here to ready signal. You can go to dim. What dim's going to do is if you're running your modeling light, it'll just dim your modeling light and bring it back up. You can use them both at the same time, or you can turn them off. I usually keep them off. Control sounds literally just is like a tactile sound to help you know that you're changing your stuff. Your warning sounds just kind of let you know if you're, especially if you're using TTL mode, that hey, your whatever exposure you're going for is either out of range, either you need more exposure or you need less exposure, but it's out of range of what the flash can do. Display brightness just lets you change the brightness of the display. Standby mode, it just lets you set some time for, if there's inactivity, it'll put the unit into standby mode so you don't kill the battery. And then you can, regulatory info is just, stuff for different countries, nothing super fancy. And then your about section just kind of tells you your current firmware build C3 and all that stuff, lets you know that you're for Fujifilm. You can reset some stuff in there. You can go in here and reset all your stuff. Yeah, pretty easy stuff.
It's generally okay to leave the zoom in the widest mode when you're using with modifier, such as an umbrella.
Yeah, it's fine. That's probably what I would do is, if you're using an umbrella or something like that, or something that you need to fill out, something like a click octa or something like that, I would probably just leave it in that mode because it's just going to be best for it. The next thing that I want to show you, because I didn't have it yet, it was behind my B flat over there, the bounce card. So in order to build the bounce card, very, very simple. Just take this bad boy out here. So it comes in this 2-piece unit. You can take that right there and put the card on like that. And now you have your bounce card built in, and then it just clips into place. I also do this thing every once in a while with mine. My buddy Cliff makes fun of me for it all the time. I think I've shared this on here before. But if I need the light to go up and bounce into something, but I don't want it to broadcast forward at all, I don't want any of this reflective light to go forward, you can take the bounce card, and you can flip it around and use it as a flag. So now you can actually negative fill. And one, you can do some awesome brand advertisement to us for everybody who's like, man, what on-camera flash is that? They're like, oh, right, it's Profoto. Yeah, it's this bounce card on top of it. It's sick.
Definitely. I'm sure everyone's gonna do do that.
Yeah, the most wedding guests are super curious as to what on-camera flash you're using, and you just be like, "Yo, it's just Profoto." Like, listen, it's I'm a pro, and I expect the best, so that's what I use is the best. So,
yes,
that's for you. But also, it's black, so it's negative fill. So if I wanted to, again, I'm shooting, and I wanted to bounce this light up and hit something, but I didn't want to broadcast it forward, I could use that. Now I know what you're gonna say. You could just turn it this way, right? And it's not going to go forward. But now it might bounce this way and it might hit a funky colored wall. And it's still doing not what I want. So you can flip it around, you can use it as a flag. So Cliff, I love you. I'm right. I think that's it for the most part for the A10. We've talked about modifiers. We went through the menu system. I showed you how to control the unit. I told you about the manual TTL switch and how if it's not on top of your camera, it doesn't mean anything. So hopefully you remember that. Yeah, it's a really awesome little flash. Insanely robust, hard to, this one right here, is this my beat up one? Yes. So this is my beat up A10. I flung this thing once. Not really sure what I did, but it definitely came down. You can probably see it right there. You see that little dingy do right there?
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That little dingy do right there. That's a nice little gash from me chucking this thing somehow. I can't remember what I did, but it just went flying. And it came right down on the corner of a very hefty light stand with a very sharp square leg. Actually, I'm using the light stand right now to hold this overhead camera. A very square leg. And it works. I mean, I can take the battery off. It works beautifully. It's, there's nothing right around on the inside. Didn't break any of the stuff inside the lens. Powers right up. Flashes like a champ. So these things are robust. It's a Profoto product. Now, that's not going to say that if you drop it right, that something bad's not going to happen. I've also dropped my B1Xs correctly, and bad things happen. So they're meant to be able to take somewhat of a beating, but certain beatings they can't handle. So, but I'm super stoked about that.
Is the recycle time on the A10 the same as the A2?
The recycle time of the A10 should be a little bit faster than the A2 because you're not having to charge as big of a capacitor. Now it's not that big. It's only 25% more, 25% more. I think that's right. So as opposed to 76 watt seconds on the A10, you're having to charge 100 watt seconds worth of capacitors. So the A2 should be a hair slower, just a hair. But they should still be relatively fast. And then again, the nice thing about using lithium-ion batteries as opposed to AA's or whatever that most on-camera flashes use for a very long time is you don't have any power fade. So the very first flash is going to perform at the same recycle speed as the very last flash. It's not going to slow down over time. So good things to keep in mind.
Very good.
That's it. That's the A10 in a nutshell. So today was really just kind of having a sit down, going through the things, showing you how some stuff worked, and just having a jolly old time diagnosing audio issues. So next week, the plan is we're going to do some on-camera flash photography. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks, things that you can use to get better results from on-camera flash. We'll play around with some things. We'll have some fun, take some more questions, and yeah, just goof around and make some cool pictures. In the meantime, no other questions before I do this?
Let's see, even the only tube broke. It was easy fix. Oh, someone said they had a tube break. It must have been like a B.
Gotcha. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. If you have any questions, I know Caitlin's probably thrown up my my @TheChrisFain, which is the best way to get in touch with me. Please feel free to shoot me a DM. We can chat about stuff. I chat with people all the time, whether it's just about lighting techniques or something like that, or if you're just having some issues and you want to talk to somebody, I'm your guy, @TheChrisFain. Instagram is the best place to do it. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. Peace out, everybody.